I'm Julie. Thanks for joining me today as I make 4 spooky Halloween spreads in my Skinny Mini Happy Planner for the month of October. If you saw my recent Halloween pre-planning video, you'll know I suggested 10 fun themes that you could use in your Halloween spreads. I've chosen stickers from 4 different sticker shops. For a little bit of variety, we have this Happy Planner Autumn sticker book, Halloween Fun from Planything, these 2 little sticker books that I picked up recently from Doodle Diaries, and an old favourite of mine, Retro Holidays from Love Posh. You can see my Skinny Mini Happy Planner is filling up now. It's now on classic size discs. So let's take the pages out for October. And this is also my chance to use some Halloween themed washi that I have. I have a couple from Planything, this bunting and spiderweb, and also this fun ghosty one that I picked up from Etsy. Also some staple washis from Planything. We have a couple of grids and a striped washi. As I said in my video, orange, black and purple are the perfect colours for your Halloween spreads. So let's get started. As well as giving you a few Skinny Mini tips along the way, I usually give you a little bit of a life update during these videos. And at the end of the video, I like it if you tell me which of the 4 spreads I've made is your favourite, and I will try and tell you mine. Now this book has so many cute stickers for Halloween. I'm not sure which to pick. We have these fun characters in little vehicles and on horses. Then we have some ghosts. And these adorable dogs in their Halloween costumes. I think we'll go with these because they're so different, not a theme I covered in my video. It looks like all the creepy creatures are going to a Halloween party and it's a lot of fun. I don't pre-plan these videos other than to pick the sticker book. So I never quite know how these spreads are going to turn out. Instead of putting washi on alternate lines, which I sometimes do, I think I will alternate the colours. But put one at the bottom, one in the middle and one at the top. For something different. Now the question is, do I do the same on the other side or do I use alternate colours starting with the purple? Let's start with the purple. So I hope things are going well for you. Can't believe we're in the autumn season, and before you know it, Christmas will be upon us. Halloween spreads are some of my favourites to make, and I have tons of Halloween stickers. I'm disappointed that I'm only going to be using a fraction of them this year, and you can't really use them at any other time of the year. I'm not sure how I'm feeling about this, but we will just carry on. I often say that it generally turns out okay in the end, so just keep going. The Skinny Mini is fairly simple to decorate because there isn't a lot of room to put the stickers. I'll try and leave the days alone and not white them out in this particular spread, although that is something I often do just so I can balance up the decorative stickers. This is the tallest sticker, so I will probably put it down the bottom. I'll just need to white out that corner. Now, as I was getting ready to film this video just before, I was doing a little bit of washing up, and believe it or not, I managed to cut my finger, which you may or may not be able to see. I often talk about how I'm accident prone, but it always seems that when I come to start a video, on that day or the day before, I have some sort of accident that generally involves my hands, which are the only part of me that you see. Maybe I only notice it more now because I have a YouTube channel, but it's really frustrating. I think I need to white out a little bit more. I think it was well over a month ago, I was filming a video and I took a little break and went to have a cup of tea, as you do. And the kettle was just boiling, and I have no idea why I did this. Looking back, half the time, I have no idea why I do the things I do, but I reached out to get something that was near the kettle, and of course I got steam on my arm just for like a second, and I was like, oh great, Julie, now you've got to go back and finish filming the video with a mark on your arm that you didn't have before. And not only that, even though it was well over a month ago, it just did not go away. So when I'm editing my videos and I watch back, I'm like, oh goodness me, Julie, you must be really careful and not do anything else. And then it seems every time I sit down and start filming, either I'm aware of something happening or I start filming and look at my hands and think, oh, where did I get that scratch from? That's a fun one with a little Dracula in the piano, is it? I think so. Oh no, it's a coffin. Coming out of the coffin. I thought it was a piano for some reason. So even when I'm not doing silly things like cutting myself on my X-Acto knife, because I've let it go down the side of the armchair, I'm cutting myself by doing something as simple as the washing up. Luckily it's not too bad, and hopefully you don't even notice. Maybe I shouldn't have even said anything, but I did. I've kept this fairly simple and done my usual thing of alternating the decorative stickers. Now I'm adding in a few more of these cute little bats. I don't often add word stickers in, but these are very small, so I will, because the boxes are quite plain. This book is very quirky and something Happy Planner haven't done before. I do wish Happy Planner would stop repeating ideas and perhaps come out with some new ideas like in these books. But it was really nice to see Lauren from Happy Planner, the old new owner, post a question and answer session on Facebook. I of course asked a couple of questions. I asked about the squad girls coming back and whether they would bring out the teacher layout with the dates at the top. I'll finish this spread by adding some dates using MojoJojoPlans Pastel Dated sticker book. I didn't get an answer to the teacher layout question, but the good news is that the squad girls are going to be making a return. So I'm very excited about that. I think the other big news was that the horizontal layout, which had been changed to add checklists, is going to revert back to not having the checklists, but not until the spring release next year. A quote there would be good. No double-sided dividers though in the planners. You have to get the custom planners for that. But it's really good to know that they're listening to feedback and making changes when they get it. So there we have spread number 1. I will add the dates on later, but now on to spread number 2, which is going to be a ghost themed spread using these fun ghosties and pumpkins and flowers from Live Love Posh. For whatever reason, I want to use circle boxes with this, so I've pulled out MojoJojo's pastel shapes. Normally I do try to vary the colours that I use, but because these are all Halloween themed spreads, they are going to be fairly similar. This book is just so much fun. I think I will cut these houses. So I can bring them in here on Friday. And I'm always saying, if you need to, cut your stickers. And with a skinny mini, sometimes it's hard to get your stickers to fit on the page, so that's a solution. I'll put the other one down here. These stickers are much bigger than the set I was previously using, so it does mean that I have to get a bit creative with fitting them under the days, which is why I often white the dates out. I really want to bring this spooky ghost in, so I think here will probably be the easiest place with a circle underneath. Trying not to cover up the Monday. Some exciting news I had at the end of the month was that I was accepted into the Live Love Posh affiliate partner program, which is something I really wanted to do for a while, as I've been using Jessica stickers for a long time now and promoting them on my channel. So I was very happy about that. I hadn't actually realised for quite some time that you could apply to be a Live Love Posh affiliate. I'd been watching out on Instagram to see if there were ever any posts asking for people to apply, and none ever appeared. And then I realised that if you go to Jessica's website, there is information at the bottom about being an affiliate and applying. So I did, and I didn't hear anything back for some time, and I'd kind of given up on it happening when out of the blue I got an email saying that I have been invited to be an affiliate partner. So I will be able to add my link, and I have a discount code in my description. So if you are ever shopping Jessica, then I'd really appreciate it if you'd consider using my link. Always makes my day when I see someone has used a link or code, because I know when you're shopping, sometimes you're just so keen to get the things in your basket that taking the time to find someone's link is an extra step. And I know in the past I sometimes have forgotten, but generally I do try to use somebody's link or code to support them. I found this a little bit tricky because I didn't white out the dates, so I may white out the dates on the next strip, but it is super fun. I haven't brought in any washi to this spread, and I do feel like it needs something else. Maybe a stripe at the bottom. And at the top, that definitely helps. Is this pink a little bit bright? I can only try it and see. I can be very indecisive when it comes to washi. I usually get out quite a few rolls and ah about which one to use, and sometimes end up pulling it off anyway. I don't think that's too bad, it just ends a little bit funny here. So I will keep going and put it along the lines, as I said in my recent washi tip video. Putting washi along the lines is a no-brainer, really. So I think you get the idea. I'll finish this page so you can see the difference between the two. And I recommend, if you're not happy with a planner layout, have a look and see if you've added any washi, and if you haven't, add some, because it can often make a surprising difference. And if you're like me and have tons of the stuff, it helps you use some of it. Now straight away, when you see them side by side like that, I think this side is much better than this side. So I'll finish that one off camera and you'll see it at the end, and we'll move on to the next spread. This one will be a Planything spread, and as I mentioned, I'll white out the days because it frees up a little bit more space for the decorative stickers, and then I can add them in at the end of the spread. are so many good sets in this Halloween fun sticker book, lots of different themes. This one is like a Halloween movie theme, a little bit scary. Then we've got spells, pumpkins, cute little witch girl and a pumpkin girl. Then some lovely ghosties, but I've already done a ghost spread. Skeletons, mummies and black cats, haunted houses, more ghosts, spooky houses, and this one is a little bit dark for me. We've got some skeletons, some scary jack-o'-lanterns and spooky socks and scarves. But I think I'm going to go with a witch theme. I don't write a lot in this skinny mini, so really only need room for appointments, birthdays and anything that involves going out. I thought I would add a quote first because I tend to leave quotes to the end and end up with lots of spreads without any quotes. So as this is a witch theme, I've got "Witch better have my candy." Another piece of exciting news that I had was that I'm now an affiliate for Plans as well. So funny how things turn out like that. I wasn't expecting that to crop up at exactly the same time, but I love using Cassie's stickers. It's really helped me with my layering. So it may be a busy few months, especially as on YouTube we're coming up to the busiest time for planners, with everybody picking out their lineup for 2026. There's always a lot of content to put out in the run-up to the new year. They say things happen in threes, and I had a bit of a nightmare week where I thought something had happened to my phone. I do everything on my phone as I don't have a computer, so I do all my videoing and editing, everything social media on my phone. I wasn't aware that I'd done anything to it, but I picked it up to use it and there were all these little tiny lines across the screen, like in the olden days when your telly is starting to go and the picture is breaking up. I looked it up and it said that it can happen when you drop your phone. Well, I wasn't aware I had dropped my phone, and I did the obvious thing of turning it off and turning it back on again in the hope that it would be fine, but it wasn't. And I was thinking, oh goodness me, I could still use it, but this is going to hurt my eyes. I was thinking if I look at this screen too long with all these tiny little lines on them. I found out that I do have an Apple dealer not too far away from where I live, and I actually do need a battery for my phone because I have to charge it a couple of times a day as the battery is needing a service. Unfortunately that didn't work. Before I add any more decorative stickers, I will put the days in so I can see what room I've got left to play with. I'm using Planything washi for this. Comes in so handy for dating spreads. Anyway, I was all set to head to the Apple place or ring them up and see if there was anything they could do. Then the next morning when I was looking at my phone, suddenly I noticed the lines weren't there anymore. I spent the rest of the day paranoid that they were going to suddenly reappear, but they didn't. So I have no explanation for that, but I was relieved. That's a little bit crooked. Then the next day I was in my car and I had just filled up with petrol, so I knew I had quite a lot of petrol in the tank. Then when I was driving home, I was looking at the dashboard and suddenly there weren't any lights showing that there was any petrol in the tank, and I was like, that's a bit strange. I know that I've just filled up and the lights were nearly at the maximum, so why aren't they showing? Only just fit the Thursday in there. But I'm trying not to panic now when things happen in my car, so I was like, well, you know, you've just filled up with petrol, so it can't be that you haven't got any petrol. It must be something wrong with the display, or I did wonder if it was the sun shining and I just couldn't see the lights. I did try to shield the sun and see if they reappeared, but they didn't. But then the next day when I went out in the car and it was a sunny day again, I noticed the same thing happened, and this time when I blocked out the sunlight, the lights reappeared. So thank goodness I didn't overreact, it was just the sunlight. But having had problems with my car in the past, I do get a little bit anxious when anything goes wrong, but I handled that one quite well. I can add a few decorative stickers now, and I know I haven't added any washi, so I may add some to this spread too. Then, as I say, things tend to happen in threes, and I was taking my parents out. We go to a local cafe and have a cup of tea and a sausage roll and an ice cream cake every so often. And I started the engine and a message came up. I can't really remember what it was now, but something about tyre pressure. So of course I googled it and looked it up, and it said if you've recently filled up your tyres with air, then you might get that message. Well, I hadn't, so I wasn't sure what was going on, but I turned the engine off, started the car up again, and the message didn't reappear, so we headed out, no problems. I think all I need is some washi now. I'm thinking about this scalloped purple washi, but I'm not sure. Let's try and see. Anyway, even though the panel on the car said my tyre pressure was fine, I hadn't checked it for a while, so I thought, well, maybe there's something wrong. Maybe I do need to go and check my air pressure, which is not a job I like doing. So I went a couple of days later. Not sure about this because you can't see very much of it. I'll do one more strip and then decide. Anyway, I don't know, for those of you watching in America, whether you have to pay for air to fill up your tyres. It used to be free at the garage, and then it was about 20p or something, but things have just rocketed in price now. And I think it was £1.50 for a couple of minutes of air to fill my tyres, which is absolutely ridiculous. And of course you can guess what happened after I'd paid. Of course, I went to fill up the tyres and they were all at maximum filled, or filled as full as they're supposed to be. So I'd wasted my time and money. But never mind, at least I haven't seen the message again. And hopefully everything is okay with the car as we are coming to the wetter winter months when you need to be able to rely on your car. So that was my 3 technical issues in the week. I also, for those of you who've watched me for some time and actually remember any of the things I talk about, have a resolution to the kitchen tap saga. To quickly recap, last year I needed a new kitchen tap because it was dripping, and I had a plumber come, and I won't tell the whole story, but he didn't have any transport. He asked me to pick him up, which I didn't do. He then got dropped off by a friend. He found he couldn't do the tap because he hadn't actually looked at the tap first, and he needed a part. But he then told me that he had to meet a friend at the airport and he would be back later, and then he disappeared, and when I rang him he didn't have any transport to get back. So I was left with a tap that he had bought with him and all his tools. And although I did contact the company he worked for and was promised that it would get sorted out when the boss returned, I never heard anything back. So I sort of gave up on my kitchen tap and let it drip. But my parents had a problem with their kitchen tap last month and found that it wasn't turning round properly, and they were worried that it was going to be left, that they couldn't turn the tap off at all. So I had a look to see who I could find locally online. Obviously not the same company, and decided I might as well get my kitchen tap done at the same time. So I'll tell you the end of that story when I'm doing my last spread, as all I've got to do is add the washi and the dates, and you don't want to see me do that. I think that's really cute. So let's move on to the final spread. For this final spread, I'm using these 2 books from Doodle Diaries, and I've pulled out these haunted house trick or treating stickers and put them in my little sticker storage book so that I don't have to keep leafing through those books. I'm going to white out the dates and make a bit of a feature of the dates in this one because I haven't done that for any of the other spreads this month. In case you're thinking, there are 5 weeks in October and there should be 5 spreads. You are right, but I'm not actually doing my spread for the week of Halloween in this video because I have something exciting planned, something I've not done before in my Skinny Mini, so there will be a separate video for that. This is something I've done before. Use circles cut in half to put the numbers in. It's a different look. Sometimes I put the semicircles here, and sometimes do what I'm doing now, which is take them to the edge of the page. It's a little something you may not have tried, and it's a great way to use up those circle stickers as well. I also don't think with this planner you have to have the days of the week in every single spread because it's pretty obvious which day is Monday, Tuesday and so on. But you do need the dates. Because I've used these circles, I won't be bringing in any boxes into this spread. This is the larger sticker, so we'll have it right down the bottom. And I'll carry on with my story of the kitchen taps because, as you might guess, with it being me, it's not as straightforward as he just came and fixed the taps and everything was fine. That's super cute. I'm wondering if this long one can fit here. And this is rather large, so I might need to put it, rather than in the box, which doesn't leave any room for writing, put it overlapping the line so that I've got some room here and some room here to write. And as it's stuck down all by itself, that's where it's going to go. I'll have the bat here. So the plumber turned up, seemed like a nice guy, asked us to choose taps. And he fitted Mum and Dad's first, then gave it a test. It looked fine. Went with their kitchen, but when he turned it on, the water was dribbling out, and I was like, oh no, I don't believe it. Because there hadn't been anything wrong with the water pressure before, but for some reason it wasn't coming out properly. And he wasn't quite sure. He went upstairs to look at the boiler, and all we kept saying was, it wasn't like this before. And you feel like you have to defend yourself and make sure that he knew that there wasn't any problem with the water pressure before. If anything, their water really spurted out of the taps when it came on. Anyway, he turned the pressure up to maximum, and it still wasn't coming out very much. And also the water in the upstairs bathroom wasn't coming out very much either. And I was like, I don't believe this. We've had a plumber just to fit a tap, and now the water's not running. It's not Halloween washi, but I think this washi will suit this spread. Anyway, he decided to come and do my tap and go back to Mum and Dad's tap later. I showed him the tap that the last plumber had bought, and he took one look at it and didn't think very much of it. And he asked me what I'd done to the plumber to make him run off and never come back. Then he came to tell me that the tap I'd chosen, that he'd taken out of the box, looked like someone had already taken it out of the box and wasn't good enough. At which point I thought, well, he must be quite honest then, because why would he tell me? He doesn't have to tell me if he doesn't think it's good enough. So that was a bit reassuring, but he said he needed to go and get another one, which made me think, what is it about me that makes workmen or plumbers run off from my house? And I do hope he is going to come up back, unlike the last one. But of course he did come back, and mine turned out to be quite straightforward. Looked really nice, and when he turned the tap on, the water ran out, and I was like, yes. And then we headed back to my parents, and he started talking about having to maybe get the boiler company to have a look, and I'm thinking, no, because everything was okay before you fitted this tap, so we don't have to get the boiler company out and have to pay them to do something. Anyway, I don't know what he did. He carried on looking at it for another 10 minutes or so, and then suddenly he let out an exclamation and said it was sorted. So you can imagine our relief that we could see the water gushing out the tap as normal, everything okay after all. But why isn't anything ever straightforward? I suppose that's just life. Well, this is why I hate having to get workmen out, especially when you're a female and You don't know a thing about these things. You're just at their mercy. I think again that washi was a good choice, and you can see how much nicer this page looks than this page without the washi. So very happy to have it all sorted, although there was one tiny little thing that happened that I thought was just typical. I'd told myself that before he left I needed to make sure everything worked so that there weren't any problems, and of course I'd got him to show me the upstairs taps and the downstairs taps. Everything was fine. And my mum and dad have an outside tap. I don't think houses probably have them anymore, but I use it to fill up the watering can to give water to the birds, to fill up the bird bath, mostly in the summer. And we'd even walked past it and I thought about it, but of course I didn't think about it before he left. And as soon as he left, I thought, oh, I better check that. And I did, and no water came out. I was like, oh, Julie. It was as if I could see that coming, and it was my own fault for not checking before he went. Fortunately, I messaged him and it was straightforward. There was just a little tap under the sink that I needed to turn back on. So phew, everything was okay. But it would be nice to have a job that needed doing in the house that someone just turned up, did, went home, no problem. But I expect some of you watching have got stories about workmen and things that have not quite gone to plan. It's just the way things happen sometimes. And I've run out of time to tell any more stories, as this spread is nearly done. I didn't use all the stickers, but I don't think I have room to add any more. You can get 12% off these books from Doodle Diaries with Julie Save 12, and all my other links and codes are in the video description if you want to check those out. I'll use Happy Planner's Essential Dates and Numbers for the numbers, and we've got this set here that I think will fit in. I think these will fit. I might need to do a little bit of trimming with some of them. I still haven't got my Skinny Mini for next year. I'm hoping Happy Planner don't sell out. But apart from that, I'm pretty much all set. How about you? Are you going to be sticking with what you've used this year or trying something new? I even saw some people are dating and setting up their planners already for next year. I don't know that I will bother with the days of the week on this particular spread. But now let's show you how they all look in my planner. Here they are, the finished spreads. This is the one using the Happy Planner Aralyn Reader Hold sticker book. Really fun with all the spooky Halloween characters. Next we have Live Love Posh Retro Holidays. I did add the trick or treat at the bottom because it was the only quote that would fit in from that sticker book. And a bat here and a circle here because I realised I had no room to write in on Friday. So much fun. Then it was the Planything Halloween Fun sticker book. Really love this one. I added this Orange October and these purple numbers from the Happy Planner Essential Dates and Numbers sticker book. I think the scalloped washi really worked well on this spread. And finally we have the Doodle Diaries Haunted House spread with all these fun spooky stickers, and I really like how the dates look at the side. They're all really cute spreads. If I had to pick a favourite, it's between this one and the Planything one. But I'm really happy with all the spreads I've made today. If you're looking for Halloween sticker and theme ideas, then do check out my video here where I suggest 10 themes and tons of sticker books you can use from different sellers, as well as showing some of my past classic vertical size spreads for inspiration. Remember to subscribe to my channel so you'll be notified when I post the final spread in my Skinny Mini for October, which, as I say, is going to be something I've never done in my Skinny Mini before. Thanks for watching, and I hope you're having a great week. Until next time, take care and happy planning.